So today I'm going to show you a strong sword-based loadout in Blocktails, and remember, this isn't the best one out there, but I think it's pretty strong and close to being the best. And I'm open to suggestions / ideas on what I could add to improve this loadout, so let me know in the comments. Also, before we get into the video, I do have a Discord where we talk about games like Blocktails and where I share sneak peeks of future videos, so if you would like to join our Discord, the link will be in the description. Alright, so the main point of this loadout is basically to kill enemies as fast as possible and to do as much damage as possible. Keep that in mind. And this particular build is mostly for solo, but if you're in a party or team and have a healer, you could remove the 2 HP drain cards and replace them with whatever else you want. So first, let's go over my overall stats. I have a base of 15 HP and 15 SP directly from upgrades, and everything else went into BP upgrades, which gave me a total of 27 BP. I picked these exact stats because I feel like 15 HP and SP is pretty standard in my opinion, and I don't think it should be any lower, and I chose for the rest of my level upgrades to go into BP because some of these cards are really expensive to have in your loadout, and you will see exactly why. So this is my entire card loadout right here, and obviously you're going to want a lot of BP because Ante-Up, Knight, and Defend Plus are really expensive to use in your deck. And next, I'm going to be going through all of my cards and why I picked each one of them. Alright, so like I said before, this loadout is mostly based on being solo, so I picked 2 HP drain cards because I'm going to be needing healing, especially with my defense debuff these cards give you. But since I want to be attacking constantly and quickly, I picked those cards because every time you attack, you gain 1 HP, and since I have 2 of them stacked, I gain 2 HP every time I attack. And overall, it's really nice and counters a lot of stuff like poison and fire hard. And keep in mind, if you are in a team or party, you don't have to use these cards, especially if you have a healer. But I'm using this because I don't have a healer and I won't have the time to use like Ice Dagger or Cure in the battle. Now I'm using Defend Plus to counter one of the HP drain defense debuffs, and without it I would have -2 defense, but with Defend Plus I only have -1 defense. It might seem that it doesn't do much, but in reality it really comes in clutch and it helps a lot, especially in stuff like boss battles. And I'm also just using Happy HP just to regain a little bit of extra health every other turn, which isn't a bad thing. But if you have a healer, you can swap it out for like another card for like Thorns or something. I'm also using Power Stab, as is basically going to be your main source of damage. And I'm using Sword Toss just to get the occasional flying enemies out of the way, or if you want to attack certain enemies before others. And I have Knight on because obviously this is a sword-based loadout video, and Knight just increases all sword damage overall, which is nice to have. Power Rush equipped just for the occasional situations where a battle is close to ending and you're low on HP. And the damage buff will just come in handy, and this card is good to have if you suck at dodging like I do. Now the next card in my deck you might have saw is Ante-Up, and it's a really good card to have, but it's also optional to have. Now what Ante-Up does is it increases your total damage by 1, but it also halves your timing windows on your attack commands, and it also makes you miss entirely if you fail to successfully land on your timing window. This can be very risky to run. If you are confident in still landing your timing windows of your attacks with Ante-Up, I would say definitely use it, as it's a good damage buff. And yes, it's a good damage increase, but if you can't land attacks, you would just be constantly missing, and that would lead to huge damage loss. And I would rather you just not use Ante-Up and still get confirmed damage. Now you might have seen that in my loadout I'm using 3 Happy SP cards, and some of you might be thinking it's a bit overkill to stack 3 of them together, and to that I say you're wrong. In this loadout you're almost always going to be using either Power Stab or Sword Toss, which both cost SP to use, and by stacking 3 of these cards together I get 3 SP back every other turn, which is just a huge buff to have and would make you not have to use Ice Dagger constantly to get your SP back or defend. And I would really recommend it because stacking 3 SP cards together is just so incredibly strong. Now that's it of me explaining the cards I picked, so now let's just get into the optional cards or choices you can adjust to this loadout, or just general tips overall. So first, I know cards like Free Poison, Free Ice, and Charge Up exist, but I wouldn't recommend using them yourself in your loadout. But if you are in a party or team, I would definitely recommend having one of your teammates use them instead of you. Because if you were to use them, you would be missing out on overall damage, as you would be wasting one of your own turns just to buff your attack by like 1 or to apply a status effect. I'm not saying the cards are bad, I'm just saying if you want to run those cards, definitely have another ally use them instead of you, because this loadout is meant to damage quickly. Now I mentioned if you have a healer, you don't have to use a HP drain or happy HP, and if you do have a healer in your team, some potential cards that you could replace those cards with are thorns, as you can stack them on yourself, making you do even more damage if the enemies attack you. Or you could use Sacrifice to get yourself down to low HP to activate Power Rush and make you do more damage. Or if you have enough leftover BP, you could even use SP Saver. And that's basically it on me explaining things, so now I'm just going to showcase the actual build. Enjoy!